You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. Oh, yet the weather finally turned. So the mountain folks, it's spring here finally. The desert folks they haven't been coming up the hill because it's so pleasant down in the valleys, the deserts, the Tucson's, Phoenix, Scottsdales. They've been staying down there. That changed this week. Now it's our turn. It's beautiful. It's why we live up here. And so it'll be this way for the rest of, this season till next autumn. The plants, we notice the plants. So we've been stocking. I've got 2 acres of plants. There's acres of plants. And when it's cold out, when there's snow and there's frost, mainly we're focused on evergreens. So lots of evergreens. There's some evergreens that bloom early, like Rhaphioliptus and rhododendrons and azaleas, and we like those. And we've got plenty of those. The peonies are growing fast. I mean, they're just almost about to bloom. It's amazing. But now, when the weather finally turns nice, we'll get trucks in. So we unloaded maybe 2-3 semi-loads of plants this week. And everything coming off the truck is in full color. It is so exciting. It's like Christmas for gardeners. Insider tip, at least here at Watters Garden Center. So this is in Prescott. So if you want the freshest flowers, vegetables, herbs, that truck comes in Wednesday afternoon. So if you want to pick, now they're not organized. So it takes us a day to get them all segmented out, and all the tomatoes here, all the peppers here, all the flowers here, all the herbs over there. But if you want to just peruse and just kind of take a look at, or just see what's there, it's kind of exciting to see all these plants on racks of just literally hundreds of plants, dozens and dozens of racks of flowers. And it's just fun to peruse them. So some of the insider folks, they know, oh, I'm going to go on Wednesday. I'm not waiting to the weekend because they're picked over. I want first dibs. They come in. Trees and shrubs typically show up either Thursday or Friday afternoon, or actually there's several trucks, but they show up Thursdays and Fridays. So you can see shrubs like lilacs, forsythia, roses, and all these others. They come in then. So it's the back half of the week is restocked every week at the garden center, so that we're making ready for the weekend. So sales, everyone has Saturday off. Most folks, not everyone, most. And so you'll see there's twice the volume on a Saturday. What's interesting, this is unique to retirement town, because Prescott, or this region, is Monday through Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day but Saturday, the sales, it's the same customer count, the same sales growth, the same. But then Saturday hits, it's like, it just kind of goes off the charts. So we always gear up for the Saturday. But the insider tip is come Friday afternoon, because you want to beat everyone else. The entire community is coming in on Saturday. You want to get your garden centers Friday, get you that insider tip. Another thing is happening. There's 2 things, and I'm noticing that customers are starting to comment. Things like their native plants, crepe myrtles. They're not leafing out. What's going on? Is it dead? Smoke bush. These things that like the summer, they don't like spring. They want the nighttime temperatures to be in the 70s, not in the 40s and 30s. And so they're waiting. Grapes, they're waiting. So if the things aren't quite waking up yet, give them another 2-3 weeks. They will. If ever you want to test that, you take your thumbnail, you scrape the bark off, and if the wood underneath the bark is green, that plant, or at least that branch, is very much alive. If it's white or brown, okay, that branch is dead. You can prune it off. So will it come back from the roots? Yeah, very possibly. But it's a quick, easy way going, I wonder if I'm impatient, or is this crepe myrtle really alive? Thumbnail, scrape it off. It's green underneath. You are good to go. It's just waiting for the nighttime temperatures to be warm enough.
I did notice that a lot of my native plants are starting to leaf out now. So the most famous, well, I guess there's several famous ones. The one that I guess is most famous in the country, and it is a top seller here, would be Arizona cypress. It's a big evergreen. It sort of looks like a juniper, but it's not. So it doesn't form a berry. It forms a pine cone. So it's different, about the size of a golf ball, but it has that same shape as a alligator juniper or a shaggy bark juniper. Big, 20 foot tall, 12 foot wide, nice round shape. We use them to block the wind and block neighbors, block a barn, we use them to block. They're great, fast growing. They haven't quite taken off yet. The most famous, or one of my favorites, I guess, my favorite native shrub is Ellie Agnes. If you just think they two names, Ellie and Agnes, put them together, Ellie Agnes, or common name, silverberry. That is a plant that is starting to actively grow right now. This is an evergreen shrub. Mine is easily above my head, and as far as your arm length can go out, it's big, great big evergreen shrub. So I'm using it to soften up 6 foot cedar fence. So it just brightens that area up. But I want a native. I want it to get it established, and then I don't want to care for that thing anymore. That's what silverberry can do for you. I think it's by far a better choice than red-tipped photinia, which is the number one seller for big evergreen shrubs. But red-tipped photinia, deer eat on it. It gets mildew. Rabbits come after it. I mean, if there's 10 things in the neighborhood it'll get 11. It's fast growing, so it grows out of it pretty quick, but we're probably going to make some money off of you at the garden center, because you're going to be in going, hey, how do I keep the mildew off? What do I have to do to keep the deer off? It's turning yellow in the winter. Why? Because not enough fertilizer. It's just a high care plant. Ellie Agnes, low care. Plant it once, get it rooted. That's all I put mine on a drip system. I fertilize it like crazy until it's up to the size I want. And then I cut it off the irrigation, and then it's on its own. I just let her go. That's all the care I have. It's so easy. And they're actively growing right now. Now the Ellie Agnes is native. It's got kind of a blue and gray look to it, or blue gray. It's got a native-y Arizona look. I'm from Arizona. You can tell. They make another one called, what do they call that? It's got a silver highlight to it. It's the same blue foliage, but it has gold on it. So now if you've got a real dark rock, like those mocha and the chocolate colored rocks are popular right now. Well, those can be hot. They radiate heat like crazy. Well, a native, they're going to love that. It's perfectly fine with that. Go for it. And the light color is striking against that dark, that gold against the dark mochas. Looks really, really sharp. The other one that looks good with that is manzanita. And we specialize in manzanita here. So you're seeing a native plant out there as you walk the forest, about head high. And then it's been in bloom. It's got a little bell-shaped flower. The bees like it because it's a pollinator early on. That plant is amazing. The secret is, don't put it on your drip system. Just plant it and water by hand when you remember to water it, and it'll live. So we've got 4 sizes. The standard one, the one that grows native, but it gets too big so many places. We've got another one that's kind of chest high, then hip high, and then ankle high, called kinnick. Or what's the other name? Bearberry is another common name for that. It's same manzanita, but it only gets about ankle high and just spreads. It's great. Just same red bark, same evergreen, same flower. Great native. The other one that I think more Californians should look at. So we don't grow a lot of cactus. Everyone moves here from Midwest. Again, I want cactus. I want to look like Phoenix. Well, there's not many choices up here, but we have tremendous choices when it comes to yuccas and agaves. We have more choices than anywhere else in the country. So some native ones. So artichoke agave is probably the number one seller as far as that's called century plant, or once every 100 years it's supposed to bloom. It's actually much sooner than that. Out in the wild, maybe, but in your yard, once every 20 years, it's going to bloom, have that magical flower. And then yuccas, there's red yuccas, probably number one seller, but we have 3 sizes. We've got giant red yucca, gets as big as you and I, with this big old flowers. Gets the standard yucca, gets about hip high. Then we've got a dwarf or break light yuccas. It's dwarfy. We use it often in raised beds, containers, that kind of stuff, but the same red flower. And the flowers look like brake lights, thus the name brake light yucca. Oh, we got so much in store for you this show. Don't go anywhere. We got to pay some bills with some advertisement. Be right back after this. Watters Garden companion plants of the month are lilac, poppy, purple plums, and our songbird columbine.
This graceful beauty dances in the shade of the garden, holding its head high, smiling back at you.
This bloomer comes back each spring with lacy green foliage, promptly followed by amazing two-tone flowers.
An excellent cut flower that is both deer and rabbit resistant.
So hardy, some varieties naturally call Arizona home.
Songbird columbine can only be found at Watters Garden Center in Prescott.
And we are back with Lisa Watters Lain. She comes each week with your garden questions. Just what are your neighbors? What are your friends talking about? Because there's something to be gleaned from that, and we can share that with the other listeners that have tuned in. So, Lisa, welcome to the studio.
Thank
Glad
you.
you're here.
Yes. Been busy. Busy.
I was sharing with folks the segment before this. Everything that was coming in like a month and a half ago was just evergreens. Now everything that comes off is everbloom. It just blooms everywhere. Just the fragrance of the gardens is amazing.
We have a lot of stuff in. We've done 3 trucks within the
That's
past
great.
2 days.
I don't know how you and the team do it.
Maybe 4.
Hey, I get
Good one.
worn out just watching you work so hard. No, just kidding. I jump in there and help too sometimes. We have these new shade structures out over the garden center. So we filled in, this is a 2-acre property, more. But in between the two, the lower greenhouse, the big greenhouse, it's a big acreage. And we just put it all under shade. So it feels like you're going to the circus or something, or like under a canopy. It's just beautiful. It's red and blue, changes the light. We're going to figure out how to use it all, but it takes the edge off. So it's more pleasant
definitely.
out there.
Definitely.
You're not baking under the sun all the time. So
It used to
kinda
get
nice.
pretty toasty.
yeah, you have to
so-
water things twice a day.
Yeah.
The crew had to work so hard in the heat. Now it's just easy.
Yes, it
It's
is.
easy to work here at Watters Garden Center. Except for 3 trucks. We're basically dirt dealers, really.
I'm like, have you seen my nails? I don't think so.
So what kind of questions are people asking or commenting
Sure.
on?
Oh, lots of stuff going out there. So Jake would like to know, is it possible to transplant manzanita? He's got some in his yard, wants to know if he can move it. Need more coffee.
Yeah, I know.
He also has the same question about pinyon pines, small pinions. Can he
Yeah.
move those?
Boy, Jake, I got to tell you, I've tried this so many times. It's probably not worth it. Maybe 1 in 10 will actually succeed. So your success rate's very small. Those 2 natives are really rough. I mean, cactus, really easy to transplant. But pinyon pines and I don't know about manzanita. Every one of those have died. Even the pups underneath the mother plant, you dig them up, you try to get as much root. Maybe if you had a backhoe and you had this humongous box for this little tiny plant, but they put on these runners that run across the yard, and you can never get enough of that taproot. And so you sever it, and within pinyon pines, it's a slow death. It's painful to watch as a gardener. It'll take 18 months. You're trying to get it to work. It's probably better. Jake, save yourself some headache. We grow manzanita here. We figured it out. They're fully rooted. They live to the plant. It's probably worth paying a couple extra bucks and doing that. And we've got 4 sizes. You got head high, the native one, kind of chest high, hip high, and ground cover, kinnick. And then pinyon pines, we've got the better one. We've got single leaf pinyon pine. That's the one they get the nuts from. Plant that one, and it doesn't get the scale and have all the issues. So I would encourage to discourage you. Don't beat your head against that bark, against that. It's just not worth the energy.
I would agree. All right. Our next question is from Carol.
Hey, Carol.
She saw some gardenias here at the store. She wants to
Yeah, I
know
love
how
it.
well they do in the winter here, and then also what kind of light conditions, sun, shade,
Gotcha.
mix. What are we
Sure.
looking at for those?
Well, first of all, Carol, thanks for coming to the garden center. Glad you saw them. So we carry 2 varieties here. This is more for my southern folks from that more humid climates where you grow gardenias just naturally. They're almost like a weed. There's a lot of varieties of gardenia. Not all of them are the same, and most are more tropical than here. There's only 2 that are hardy enough to go through the winter. Up here, one's got a double flower. It's about the size of a silver dollar or so. One's got a star. Gardenia has a 5-petal white flower. Both have intense fragrance. They're evergreen bushes. They don't get as big here. So you folks from the warmer climates, you're used to gardenias can be as big as you are. Well, they're not going to be that big here. They're going to be smaller, let's say knee high. Maybe if you had them for years and years, maybe they could get bigger than that. But generally, they look really good in containers. They fill in. They're nice and evergreen. They don't take any real care as far as pruning. Fertilize them with flower power once or twice a month, and away they're going to bloom starting May and not stop until wherever. And evergreen, the sun piece, Carol. They like the sun, but they don't like the middle of the day sun in June. So we've grown several in containers. We've got 2 or 3 of them, but all varieties, because we like entertaining on our patio. So there's nothing like a gardenia that's blooming right next to you as you're sipping tea, watching the sunset. The hummingbirds fly through the yard. It's magical. And so we use them that way. And in containers, it brings that gardenia smell up where you can enjoy it more. So it's up where you can just smell the fragrance, the aroma. And so that's where we grow them. We find they grow really well on the east side. So they get the morning sun, afternoon shade. We grow some on the west side. They get shade till about 1 or 2, and then they get sun. We grow them on the north side. They're beautiful. The north side of our 2-story house. That south side, they just don't bloom. I know the tag says it will grow there, but it doesn't bloom very long. They get brown leaves. It's just not worth the energy. Some protection that middle of the day. So that's why they do great underneath that back patio, the back deck that's covered, the entrance to your house, having a gardenia there. It's got that cover to it. They welcome every guest. The Amazon delivery guy will just thank you every time. You'll remember your house going, yeah, can make sure the Joneses get that package. Their house smells good. So anyway,
Okay.
too far.
Maybe just a hair. All right. Her next question is from Anne. She has a KV plum or ornamental plum. Says every year it gets holes in the leaves.
Yeah.
She wants to know, she's not seeing any insects out there.
Yeah.
So what is it caused by and how do you treat it?
Yeah. So they call it shot hole because it looks like someone stepped back with a shotgun and shot holes through the leaves. It looks like that, little tiny holes through all the leaves. It really affects a plum. It really likes plum trees or pitted fruits, but ornamental plum, they love that purple leaf plum the most. When they're real young, you'll see these holes through it. And it's so small, you see them. As they get more mature, bigger, they're still there. You just don't notice them as much. It doesn't really kill the plant. It's actually a bacteria eating the sugars inside the leaf, and it just nibbles out a little hole. That's the name, shot hole. So what to do? There's a spray. There's actually an amazing organic spray. It's called Fungicide 5.
You got it.
Right? There we go. Fungicide 5. All organic. It's not going to hurt your birds. Not going to hurt your husband. Not going to hurt your pets. The birds. It's safe. All organic. Spray that, and it will take out shot hole. Now, when to spray it? This kind of stuff affects plants it gets in there when they're young. So birds peck around in the leaf litter down below. They fly up on this new foliage, and then it just spreads from there. So it spreads from their feet. Or bugs come eat on one plant that's affected, come and eat on yours. If you put the fungicide 5 on as they leaf out, so this has been the pink tree that's been in bloom for about a month. It's now starting to transition. Now it's half blooms and half purple foliage. This is when you spray it. Put fungicide 5 on there, and it will greatly reduce the number of holes going through that foliage. And then as they mature, it just becomes cleaner. It's just a cleaner tree. Next fall, make sure you clean up all of those leaves that fell down, because that's how it comes back year after year. So the birds, all that leaf litter will be there. The worms are attracted to it. The birds are attracted to the worms, and they peck around there, and they get on the new foliage next spring, and it just perpetuates itself. So fungicide 5 is your magic.
It's a great fungicide.
It's an amazing new chemistry, new science coming out that's greatly effective. that we are out of time, Lisa. We got to cut it short here. So Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners, be right back after this. Watters companion plants for April are purple twist plums, perfume lilacs, columbine, and Arizona gaillardia.
Gaillardia is the perfect mountain perennial with huge fiery flowers on a compact plant.
She loves the heat and super drought hardy.
You can count on this bloomer to show off all summer long in raised beds, containers, or in the garden.
Javelina and rabbit proof. This bloomer is a must-have Arizona plant.
Arizona Gaillardia, found at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in...
So I started out the show mentioning that things are waking up. Deliveries are all coming in full glorious bloom. I mean, the roses are over the top. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. You walk in the upper greenhouse and it's almost overwhelming. Butterflies are coming out. It's beautiful. And the natives are starting to grow. One native that's a little slower, but I think is underestimated, not appreciated nationally, but it's coming online very quickly. I mean, globally. And it's grown right here. It's called an Arizona Desert Willow. And you'll see these growing just wild from Prescott going out over to Skull Valley, Baghdad, Hillside, all those taller deciduous trees or really large shrubs. Those are desert willows. Going out to Dewey down that 69 corridor, up over the hill to Jerome, down through the Verde, Cottonwood, Camp Verde, all the way to Sedona. Those tall deciduous trees up to about 20 feet. Most of the time, they're multi-trunked. They're like a great big bush. Or sometimes they're trained to be an actual tree with a crown at the top. Those are desert willows. And so there's a couple varieties coming online. This is kind of exciting technology. The number one breeder of desert willows lives in Tucson. He's a friend of mine. He and his family run a garden center and a growing operation down there. And they're big into Arizona plants, and they're breeding these things. Here's the difference. So 10 years ago, we were selling desert willows, the native one that you see growing on the side of the road, and they're beautiful pink. They've got willow-shaped leaves. Animals leave them alone. Javelina don't eat them. They're drought hardy as can be. Butterflies love them. Hummingbirds are all over them. They have everything going for them except after they're done blooming, they form a bean pod. And when they form a bean, they're thinking, oh, I'm going to stop blooming. I've pollinated. I'm all set. I'm pregnant now. I'm just going to give birth to more desert willows out there. More beans. Focus on the beans. And they just throw off beans. They're trying to get more of them. So you'll see groves of desert willows in the wild. And this is how they do it. Well, the new breeding, what they're trying to do, what they've succeeded. So if you see the name, if you're at the nursery and it says desert willow, that's it. That's going to be our native one that grows wild. If they give it another name, so Timeless Beauty Desert Willow, Bubba May, or some other name in front, Desert Willow, those are exclusive new introductions. They're the ones you'll want. Because what they've done is they bred out so they don't form the bean. So now the plant, when it gets done blooming, sheds a flower and it goes, oh, I didn't set any beans here. What's going on? I should probably bloom again. So this is pulsating waves of color, of flowers. So that keeps going from the end of May through autumn. It's just an amazing flower. It's got a kind of an orchid-shaped flower, kind of a deep throat flower to it, about the size of about, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches long. And hummingbirds, that's why hummingbirds love it. It's a deep throat flower. It's with lots of nectar. They're all over that thing, from monarchs to painted ladies to swallowtails. All the butterflies love them. All the hummingbirds use it as a migration source, going up and down, north and south. So they are all the pollinator things, animals out there. They love desert willow. But if I were planting one in my yard, again, plant it, treat it with care, get it rooted out, get it up to size, and then you never have to water it again. It takes almost no pruning, just keeps its shape. It just easily keeps its shape. No care. It's just a great little plant for you. It'll take full sun, I would say, at least, I don't know, 6 hours. I go 6 or more. More sun equals more flowers. Excuse me. Let me take a quick sip of coffee. You know, I was out working in Chino Valley The wind was ferocious out there earlier in the week. And I came the next day, my sinuses were just clogged up. I mean, something is out there blowing right at me as I'm killing some weeds or whatever. Going, oh my gosh, I'll wait. I'm not doing this when it's windy again. I'm going to wait spray in the morning. It'll be better. So insider tip, note to self, treat yourself better. Don't go out there when it's that windy. It's like 40-mile-an-hour winds. It's crazy. So you folks in Chino Valley, those newer properties, it's really windy. Once you plant a few trees and they start to get up, that wind stays up above the roof level and becomes much, much more pleasant. We found that our first house in Prescott Valley, this is back in the 90s, we had dirt roads back then, believe it or not. We were all of Prescott Valley was on septic systems, believe it or not. And then they moved into this era. And so they became a real city and they just boomed ever since. Very proud of them. Anyway, we were out there, brand new house, new landscape, started planting, and it was just the wind shears would hit and just it sounded like a freight train. By the time we left several years later, the trees were growing up and you could hear the wind. You could hear this steamroller coming down. Then it would hit the top of the tree. You see the top of the tree whip around and the wind would stay up there. Yes, it's breezy down here, but it wasn't that freight train running through the yard. So trees are amazing at changing your environment, making it cooler, more pleasant, and keeping it kind of not as windy out there. Got more for you, but let me take a quick break. Be right back after this.
Watters Garden companion plants of the month are lilac, poppy, columbine, and our purple twist plum.
This Arizona plum is the ideal purple tree between evergreens.
Blooms in a profusion of pink flowers that precede the deep purple foliage.
Large enough to use as a front yard tree and behaved enough to use as a street tree.
Plant pairs flanking gateways, driveways, or an orchard like rows to screen neighbors.
Purple twist plum can only be found at Watters Garden Center in Prescott.
And we are back with Lisa Watters Lain in the studio. She comes each week and just shares her garden knowledge. She grew up in the family business, garden centers, landscapes, pet shops, feed stores. So back in the day, when was that?
Flower shops?
1972,
Yeah, well,
way back then?
It would have been late 60s.
Late 60s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're just a young thing. You look good, this old man. Anyway, we've been married for 37 years, coming up in July.
Mhm.
And we got 4 kids. And I found out over the years, Lisa is an amazing gardener. And so we just have her come in and share her garden knowledge. So what do you got for us today, Lisa? Welcome to the studio.
So thank you. So we have been busy unloading mini trucks.
It is
So
spring.
If you haven't been in lately, you
Yeah.
need to come back in
It's a whole new
because
story.
we're trying to find places to cram
Yeah.
plants at this point. So we've gotten a lot of beautiful perennials in, some great shrub roses in, lots of nice shrubs, just a lot of everything.
And they're all in bloom. It's amazing.
Yeah.
The trucks, you open up the doors, a month and a half ago, they were green, evergreens, lots of green, or twigs.
Twigs.
Lilacs are pretty once they start blooming, but they're kind of twins in a bucket. Otherwise, well, now they come out, everything's in bloom. It's just really, the butterflies follow you across the yard as you carry a cartload of flowers over there. It's kind of fun.
Sure. Yeah, so we've got a lot of herbs in, a lot of great herbs that have come in. So I wanted to talk about the lavenders because lavenders are a great herb to have in your yard.
Yeah.
They are animal resistant. So if you have deer, bunny, javelinas, lavender, rosemaries, those herbs, they're just terrific because they don't bother them.
Yeah.
They leave them alone. Lavenders do like a nice sunny spot. You're going to want at least 6 or more hours of sun for these guys to bloom nicely, to do well, and then also well-drained soil. So most of them do really well in containers. So no problem going in
There's
containers.
drainage. As long as it's
Right.
got a hole in the bottom.
Yeah.
The water naturally drains out. So it kind of makes sense.
Mhm. So, but if you're putting them in the ground and you got that really heavy clay soil, you might want to think about that or really amend your hole because that's very important to them. So when lavenders, there's a lot of different kinds of lavenders. There's English lavenders, there's French lavenders, and there's Spanish lavenders.
Arctic lavender.
And Arctic, I don't think so.
No, They're mainly a Mediterranean plant.
So the English lavenders are ones that most people think of that have that real spiky blue flower,
Yeah.
purpley flower that comes out of there. Very, very fragrant. And we carry 2 different kinds mainly. Sometimes we'll have more. But the Goodwin Creek is a great gray leafed lavender. It's a taller one, almost like a shrub. So it gets
it's
4
big.
by 4. So it gets to be a good size.
Yeah.
And it so gray foliage sends off that purple spike, very fragrant. The flowers and the foliage is very, very fragrant. The other one is the Munstead, which is more compact. It's about a 2 by 2, a little bit smaller, a little more compact type of shrub. But there again, sends out that real pretty purple flower on
Yeah,
there.
that hovers real long. It's
Mhm.
long. It's hovers. The flowers hover much taller above the foliage on the
Mhm.
English. That's how I determine
Yeah.
which one it is.
Mhm.
And we use those mainly in commercial landscapes or just tough places where it's
Right.
surrounded by asphalt and it's just hot. Lavender loves that kind
Mhm.
of spot. So more sun equals more flowers.
Definitely. So then we have the Spanish lavenders, and we have some really beautiful ones that came in. I'm going to show the big one first, so
Okay.
we can try
Yeah.
not to drop
It's
it.
pink. That's unusual.
This is called the Princess. So this is a Spanish lavender. So it's going to get about 20
Beautiful.
by 20. Has that really nice bright green foliage with kind of a what color would you call that? It's not the blue. It's not the pink.
It's pink.
Kind of.
It's
Okay.
violet, pink
Ooh,
with a
there you
violet
go.
overtone.
I like that.
Violent overtone. It's very, very unusual for lavender.
It
Lavender is always purple or blue.
Mhm.
This is definitely not that.
And
It
it-
still smells like it.
This is a beautiful 2-gallon, and we have a lot of these in
These
there.
are
They're stunning.
magnificent.
Put one in a pot by the front door or someplace nice and warm. It would be excellent. So that's called the Princess.
Yeah.
And then we also have one
This
that's
is too big for the studio. This is like instant plant. It weighs like 20 pounds. But look at it.
20.
It's bigger than my head. It's huge. It's beautiful. My gosh.
It
Pink
is.
Princess. Or
Mhm.
just Princess.
That
this
one's
pink-
the Princess.
The Princess.
The
Okay.
Princess. This one is called Ghostly Princess. They call it ghostly because it has a very silvery,
Yeah, it's white.
almost, they called it luminescent,
Oh,
is what they call it.
well, under the moonlight, you
It would be.
you could line
Yeah.
like walkways with that, so
Uh-huh.
people could see where the boundaries are. If you got late night parties or whatever, that'd be magnificent for that.
Mhm.
And evergreens, it'd be this color all the time.
Be good, kind of pretty to kind of mix them. Have like
Yeah.
a silver princess and a purple. Anyways, the flowers on this one are pink. There's lots of buds on here. It's going to be opening pretty soon,
Yeah.
but it hasn't opened yet.
The foliage itself, though, you're showing up the foliage. There's for
Yeah.
the people watching this on Spotify. There you go. Apple, you guys, you special people with cameras.
Special
Rest of
people here.
Use your imagination as
There
you're
you
driving
go.
across
Just
town.
think about what it would look like.
It's
And then the last Spanish
got
lavender
the
I
same
brought.
fragrance that the
Oh,
other
yeah.
one, the other Princess.
Mhm.
Smells
Yeah,
good.
nice foliage. So Purple Medley is another Spanish lavender. So this one has the green foliage with the purple blooms to it. Very, very pretty. And I had someone describe them as they look like little pineapples. The way
Yeah,
the
they do
blooms
look
look
like
on
pineapples.
there.
Look at that. They're hovering
Yeah.
maybe 6 inches above the foliage, like little tiny pineapples
Mhm.
above with like little wings on top or something. It's kind of fun. Uniquely lavender. There's nothing
Yeah.
out there like lavender is unique in what it does.
It definitely is.
So, and animals just seem to leave them alone. So we've got
They do.
javelina that bother our gardens
Mhm,
and they don't bother our lavenders. So generally we call it resistive.
mhm.
Rabbits resistive, deer resistive. So
And we also have a nice selection of rosemaries. I think lavender and rosemary are great companion plants.
oh yeah.
Because they pretty much want the same amount of sun, same type of water, same drainage. So they're wonderful companion plants to put together.
So it's time to put these out in the yard.
Mhm.
Like if we get a last frost, lavender, they don't care.
They'll be
They'll
fine.
celebrate. They'll be fine.
Mhm. So we got a second left.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the other things that we got in is called a frost-proof gardenia.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, these are really pretty. So this one gets about 5 foot tall, maybe 4 by 4. We could easily call it. Has that real pretty bloom on it that gets like 2 to 3 inches wide.
Yeah.
Very, very fragrant. This one is excellent for a zone 7.
That's us.
which is where we're at. So it's a really pretty one to try out there in your yard, also in pots. So I definitely would check those out. Is there anything I should have else talked about?
I mean,
I'm
you've
used
got
to
a lot
running out
going
of
on.
time.
Gardenias. I mean, we grow gardenias ourselves. They're an amazing plant. People don't think you can grow them here, but you
Yeah.
can. I think they grow better than some of the other plants, and they're wonderful on a patio because that fragrance just fills up. I mean, lilacs are great, but they're good for about 6-8 weeks, and then
And
they're
they're
out of
done.
bloom. They're just pretty plants. Gardenia has this wave. They're like ever blooming, kind of like roses are ever blooming. They just always set off flowers, and that frost rose is a really performer for here. So why not? Every yard should have one.
I agree.
Any last tips you want to give it? Because you got an extra. You
I
just cut it
see.
short. You
I
want to
am
be done?
not used to having time. Usually I run out of time and I create all these things. I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to talk about that. And then you start counting me down. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Talk about the new shade structure. We got this beautiful new shade structure
gotta check
between
that
the
out.
two greenhouses. It just changed the entire environment. It feels like it's all 2 acres undercover. It's just magnificent. It'll take the pressure off the plants, off the team. You don't have to water as often. We're hoping that customers will shop a little longer. It's so nice here because it's so shaded. I'm tempted to put one in the parking lot so people park underneath it because it's so pleasant. Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners, be back with more after this.
Watters Garden companion plants of the month are lilac, poppy, purple plum, and our white night candy tuft.
Masses of fragrant white flowers cover mounds of perennial green foliage.
Extreme heat and cold tolerant, this award winner repeatedly blooms without deadheading for super easy care.
Butterflies, bees, hummingbirds are going to love your backyard again.
White Night Candy Tuft can only be found at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
And we are back with the Mountain Gardener, your host, Ken Lain, here every week. And one of the beauties of having a studio right here at the Garden Center is when someone like Jim Rupe from Monrovia shows up to train your staff, they can all go, Jim, you've got to share some of that info with listeners. They need to know this stuff. And so you agreed to come in the studio. I dragged you in. Hey, would you hold this microphone? So welcome to the studio. Welcome to the Mountain Gardener, Jim.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's fun.
So now Monrovia, tell us about Monrovia Growers. This is a very large farm. You're on thousands of acres. You've got 3 or 4 farms now.
Well, let's call it 3. Yeah.
3? Okay.
Georgia, Oregon, and Central California. Yeah.
Yep.
And we started in 1926, which means next year 100-year anniversary.
That's actually crazy. That's amazing.
That is crazy. So, as you know, we were the first company really to start growing in mass plants in containers back eons ago. And we ship all across the country and into Canada as well. So.
Gotcha. So we pull for mainly your 2 farms on the West Coast. So out of Portland, Oregon, that area, a lot of the evergreens, conifers come up from there. A lot of the blooming stuff, lilacs, rhododendrons come up from there. And then the Central Valleys, it's a hotter area, more desert. We get a lot of our agaves and yuccas and that kind of
vines. Yeah.
So you got a great mixture. And I really, 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 really want the hydrangeas you grow in Georgia. So when you start shipping those out west, I want to be the first one.
I just toured the Visalia location last week.
Yeah.
And we have some outstanding 5-gallon hydrangeas coming on.
Really?
Really. They're just shaped lovely. They are really, it's going to be a beautiful crop of hydrangeas.
Put me down for 100. I want 20 of every color. Just bring them. We'll take them.
Yep.
When do they start blooming? That's all I want to know.
Okay.
You know what we should do? Let me know what those are, and I'll let people know. I'll do it a plant drop. I'll let people buy them early.
Yeah.
And just when they're ready, we'll let them know, and they've already got their name on it, and they'll make sure they get one. Because a lot of times you run out of that fancy reblooming blue or purple or some of these exotic colors.
And all the varieties of hydrangeas we're doing now are designed for this climate.
Yeah.
In other words, if the the foliage dies back in the wintertime, the stems, which can happen in real cold climates like
Sure.
this. Hydrangeas, they'll come back up, but they won't bloom.
Right.
So the varieties we're doing, if it gets cold enough in the winter where it kills off some of the stems, they'll bloom on that new
Gotcha.
wood. So
Yeah. Most old fashioned, the hydrangeas your grandparents grew,
right.
they bloomed on second year wood. And if the winter burned them back, they'd be a beautiful shrub, but
yeah.
no flower.
Yeah.
So now we've figured out how to train it to bloom on this year's new growth.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I'll pick out 4 good varieties, and that's a good idea.
Literally, I'll let people stay tuned in. You'll want to see this. When do you think they're available? Just so people May?
I think later April actually this
Oh,
year. Things
okay.
are running a little bit earlier. So
Are they?
I would say a little late April, early May. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But for sure, definitely for great Mother's Day.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, you got my wheels turning, going, oh, we got a Mother's Day promotion. Hydrangeas for your mom and a hanging basket. Here you go. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. Anyway, we digress. So you're just touring the farms, and everybody say, oh, yeah, they had hydrangeas. What is your Jim Rupe? You're a local. You're a Prescott guy. You can live anywhere in the state. You're the representative. You represent Monrovia for all of Arizona. You can live in Tucson, Yuma, Flagstaff, White Pine Mountain. I mean, you could live anywhere. Why Prescott?
Yuma? You say Yuma?
Just names go. Green Valley. Here we come.
Prescott. Well, as my wife says, this is the livable part of Arizona.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as hot as Phoenix.
Yeah.
And it's not as cold as Flagstaff.
Sure.
But really, as a kid, I came to this area. My grandparents retired in Cottonwood.
I did not know that.
I would stay with them like a month at a time in the summer when I was off school. And so they kind of took me around and took me to all kinds of places in central Arizona.
Cool.
So when I had this opportunity to transfer with our company to here, I jumped on it and said, I want to
You've
live
been
in
here.
Prescott.
You work for the company for how long now?
I think almost 37, 38 years.
Really?
Lost
That's a
count.
long time.
Yeah.
For one company.
Yeah.
You ever worked for anyone else?
I made hinges when I was a kid in high school. Yeah.
Just literally, you made
I
hinges.
made hinges. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I did I worked retail too in San Diego in my early 20s and was a manager of a retail garden center. And,
Really?
Yeah.
I've done a lot of interviews of folks in this industry. They came to our open house, or they coming through, and that's a theme. They're now working for this huge company, taking over large territories. They're grossly successful, but they frequently got their start at a garden center.
Yep.
I just had one that has a Kmart garden center, another one that had another family garden center. Now you just said the same thing, a garden center. That's interesting how what that theme is.
You know, in this business, once you get started in it, you just can't get out. You just stay in it. And that's because we love it. We work with a living thing, plants. I mean,
that's right.
You know,
we're outdoors in the sunshine,
yeah,
fresh air. You stay fit because you're not sitting idle behind a screen, taking orders or whatever it is that you do. You're not sedentary. You're active. And
people who work in plants, they're great to be around. Just easy to get along with. And
they are.
So it's just, great people I've worked with for the last.
And that hasn't changed. So I've been in this. So we've been as a company, our company, 63 years, and it really hasn't changed. I've been in the family business for 33 years. It's still pretty much the same cultural wise, easy going. I think it's because we're fresh off the farm, or we are farmers. We're dealing with living, breathing plants. It's a seasonality thing. And we're helping customers garden better, smarter, more successfully. And there's just this helpful thing that you do with your customers. And you do that with us. So I haven't thought about why do we stay in the business so long, but it's a theme. Yeah.
It's funny you said like farmers. It's like every conversation starts out for the weather with us too,
So what's your favorite plant? If you had to go out in the garden center right now, I'm going to let you have any one of your plants. You can take it home and plant it. Which one? You can only pick one.
Oh, that's like ask me what's my
Which
favorite
child?
song. It depends on my mood. what I've had to drink. But I think the plant I love for this area is probably the autumn sages,
Okay.
just because
Yeah. Salvia greggii.
Salvia
Perfect.
greggii. There's different colors. They do extremely well. Nothing eats them.
Yeah.
Hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds love them.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
pollinator plant. Can be a great container plant.
Yeah.
So it's just always one of my favorites. And, especially somebody new moving here that's, trying to get their feet wet with what grows here. I want them to have
Yeah.
success. It's like, okay, let's plant some autumn sage. You'll have good success. And then,
Yeah.
we'll
Then
keep
go from
adding
there.
on- Go
Yeah.
from there. So
Good knee-high plant, nice mounding. It blooms from April through November. I mean, it just has everything that you really want.
yeah.
If it could glow in the dark, that could make it better. That's the only thing.
Well, okay. There's the white ignition purple.
Okay.
Great for moonlight gardening.
That's true.
So
there you go. Yeah.
So we're close. Okay.
So we've got the. Did you see the new radio red
Yeah.
salvia out there?
That's
The red is intense. I mean, normally it's a yellow, not a yellow, it's a pinky red. It's pure,
Yeah.
like intense red. It's beautiful.
Hey, one thing I wanted to bring up is we have a pollinator contest coming up, and you're going to be part of that.
Yep.
And it's going to start mid-April. So we'll be making a really nice display here of plants that are for pollinators to attract bees.
Yep.
And they'll also attract hummingbirds and butterflies, a lot of these plants. So you just come on in, scan the QR code, and register, and we're going to be giving
You're
away
entered to win.
some free plants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
good.
In the end of April, we'll pick winners for those. Come in and pick up the plants from you.
We're starting to focus more and more on pollinators. That's a big theme right now. So helping the butterflies, the hummingbirds, the bees. And so there's a subculture of gardeners that just love, they come in a shopping cart full of, they just want to know pollinators. This fits perfectly into that. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Jim Rupe with Monrovia Nursery here at Watters Garden Center. You can take a look at his plants anytime because we love the quality, the consistency, the beauty of Monrovia plants here at Watters Garden Center. Be right back right after this.
Watters Garden companion plants of the month are lilac, columbine, purple plum, and our Prescott poppies.
These silk beauties look delicate, but really one of the toughest bloomers in the gardens.
These wildflowers come in vivid colors of orange, red, pink, and white that are ideal for the hard-to-grow areas in your yard.
You're going to love your backyard again.
Prescott poppies can only be found at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
So we are famous here in the Central Highlands. Central Highlands would be like Sedona, Camp Verde, Cornville, Prescott Valley, all the way over to Kirkland, Paulden, that upper valley area, and everything in between. Once you head up the hill from I-17 from Black Canyon City and you crest, boom, that's our area. I would say Seligman. We got a whole following of folks that come down to the VA from Kingman, Ash Fork. I mean, they're coming from all over. And so native plants, what does that mean? And what do I find people really are going after when they're coming in? I'm finding people don't know what a native is. They're new to the area. They're from California or Denver. Actually, Denver's pretty good. The Northwest, Midwest, the South, Texans. I'm coming in for natives. Well, bluebonnets aren't really that native-y here, but let me show you some that are. Poppies are wild here. Scabiosas and gaillardias, and there's all kinds of shrubs and trees. Right now, you're seeing one tree that's a famous local. It's a native. It's a red bud. You're seeing a pink blooming short tree. It's kind of maybe 10, 12 feet. I just posted a beautiful video on our Facebook and Instagram pages if you want to see what those look like. Actually, if you're into what does Ken's yard really look like, you just follow me on any of our social media feeds. Most of those pictures are in my backyard. I have candy tuft, red buds. You're seeing that. So if you watched through the stream for about a year, you'd go, oh yeah, that is pretty nice. Oh, well, he might own a garden center. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I encourage you. Follow, subscribe, kind of whatever your media is, we have it, from TikTok to Instagram. Facebook's number one. No, actually YouTube. by far number one, our social media outlets. But native plants, really what I find people are asking for, they're looking for low maintenance, low care. They want to head in the RV, head across the country, come back, and their plant's still alive. They don't want a bunch of weeds coming up. They don't want a bunch of maintenance and pruning. They want easy care. They want to put it on a drip system and just have it live and thrive for years to come. And that's really, that opens up what you can plant, because some of the natives, quite frankly, they're ugly. They're at the garden center. You look at an Apache plume, it will look beautiful eventually, but right now it's kind of a twig in a bucket. Not quite as nice. Desert willows are gorgeous. We've got some Elaeagnus or silverberry it's a native. It's stunning. Way better than a red-tipped photinia, this big evergreen that blocks everything. That's the number one seller. But really, in my own yard, I only plant Elaeagnus. It's native. It grows up the same size, less maintenance, less bugs, less water, less pruning back. Deer don't eat it. Javelina don't bother it. It's just it's low maintenance, and it's a native. But you could also put Russian sage. That's not really a native. Actually, I would go so far as to say roses. I know no way that's a native, but it's low maintenance. Have you ever tried to dig a rose out? It's got a root that goes down to China. It's deeper than a tree, especially the shrub type of roses. So low maintenance. So we actually changed the garden center. We have probably half the garden center is nothing but native kind of plants, or super low maintenance. I mean, obviously, a tomato is not. A hanging basket is going to take some care. But most everything else, I would say low maintenance. We actually grouped them together. We said, these are the plants. These are the ones that are animal resistive. These are the ones that are low care. These are the ones that are stay short. We're trying to put themes together so it's easier to shop them, so you're not so overwhelmed. Which one should I get? Trying to make it easy for you. Anyway, that's it for this show. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you for an hour. Of course, if I didn't cover something, come talk to me. I hang out here at Watters Garden Center along with the family and a great staff that knows stuff here at Watters Garden Center. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit wattersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Watters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.